Hey everyone, and welcome to Philosophy. This is your host with the most, George. Guys, I want to talk to you about your inner compass. I'm talking about your emotions. And, you know, your emotions are unique to you. They're derived from the inner framework, um, essentially, the architecture that's composed of our biology and our mind and the infinity and connection to everything. There's a lot of stuff to untangle there. But the reason why I want to talk about your inner navigation is because I was just reading a couple of articles um, that made me start to make my wheels turn a little bit or my gears turn. And it was essentially talking about traumatic stuff, childhood traumas and stuff like that, and really edgy stuff. However, um, it made me think about how we normalize things. And, obviously, traumas, they're perpetuated at times from, authority figures to, to whomever they they manage, right? We'll just say parents to or adults to children. And then obviously traumatic things happen because the parents or the adult is traumatized and they just perpetuate what they normalized eventually just to acquiesce and not go insane, right? And so this is, you know, this is quite a deep rabbit hole. Um, but eventually, when the child becomes an adult, they at times perpetuate that same trauma that was, you know, um, administered to them, right? And so the reason why I bring up inner navigation is because, we have circumstances that happen to us in life, and we can get triggered by many, many things, and things aren't, you know, things can be challenging in life, for sure. Um, but one thing that is always consistent is you have an inner navigation. You have emotions. And philosophy is an interesting kind of framework because, it's something that I boiled down for decades and just through observation and experience it, firsthand. And obviously chatting with others and helping others kind of untangle their uh, minds and belief systems and stuff. I've come to the conclusion that life, because oftentimes people say, dude, what's the whole point of life? I mean, that's a great question. If it's just challenges, never ending challenges, what's the point? But there's something special about it. And we learn, we learn. And we get to pass on that learning. Um, you know, from my perspective, I perceive things in a very holistic way, meaning that things aren't accidental. Everything has a systematic part in the whole. And, you do, I do, what we do, what I do, um, generations prior and the generations ahead of us, the earth and the and the movements of other planets and, solar system, just go on and go on. It's all a very, very fine-tuned clock, and the reason I'm bringing all that up is because the inner workings of our navigation system is interesting. It's really, really interesting, and the reason why I call it interesting and it kinda sparks me is because there is a sense, an intelligence within us that knows what benefits us, what directs us to fulfillment. The reason I say that is because, you know, we often have used like that term hunch, right? It's like my gut feeling, quote unquote, or, had a I had a feeling this would be, good for me, like an intuitive type of sensation within us, right? And emotions stem from that. It's it's almost like, you know, trying to, we flip the switch in our kitchen, right? Turn on the lights, but we don't know how the circuitry works within the building, right? And nor do we, or even less do we understand the circuitry and the production of electricity throughout the grid of the city and the country. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff. But all I can say is that inner navigation system within us, those hunches, that emotion, there's something there. There's an intelligence there. You know, I think we have a soul. I think we do have an inner connectiveness with everything. And the only reason I say that is because that's the only way I can explain why our emotions feel a certain way when we choose one direction over another, right? Or when we think of one thing over another. Okay. So when we think about our abundance, for example, when we think about something that excites us, or not even, let me back up, something that opens up opportunity for us, right? I'll say in that in a more of a neutral way, feels different. Now, see, the question is, how does it know it's an opportunity, right? Like versus something else. And that's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. However, all I can do is by exploring, or let me give you a little window into what I do. I often sit before I make any choices in anything that's relatively important, in the day or whatever, in my priorities for the day, duties, right? I often sit for a bit and just kind of, you know, um, kind of imagine I'm sitting in the middle of where a bunch of hallways all connect, right? And like a fork in the road, right? And I look at down like I look down road, right? Uh each road that extends from where I'm at. And I don't know what the next moment holds. I no one does, right? If that was the case, then everybody be winning at the stock market, right? But like over 80% of people fail. So the thing is that there's a feel, right? And so I explore each and every avenue, right? And even though I don't know what's going to be happening down those avenues, I do get a bearing. I get a sense of a feeling from those avenues, right? And and so and it's definitely distinctive from one version to another. And so I'm in my 50s, so I've explored a lot of this stuff, and so I've tested it myself. Technically, I'm the guinea pig, right, of my own life, and so I've explored certain things, and I've taken down the avenues where felt bad, and it kind of wound up not cool. And then I also explored the avenues that felt good, and they worked out. They worked out to feeling good. Now, obviously, there's tons of variables and all that stuff, obviously. But what I'm getting at is our inner navigation, our hunch, our sense of emotion that we get from entertaining a particular thought is is very consistent. It's very, I would say it's the one truth that we do have. And the reason I guess the reason why I think and I do rely on this is because I do believe in an intelligence, a greater intelligence, and that we're connected to all of it. And so a thought is a creation. It's the kind of like the sandbox of what you're going to be doing in your day. Or, you our ideas are what we manifest, right? And the more you think about a particular idea, for example, the more chance it has of starting to materialize in the reality that we're in, right? And so the mind is the sandbox. In other words, we get to play around with ideas, and certain ideas excite us and others don't. And the ones that excite us have a potential through that intelligence to have some sort of resonance with our ultimate excitement, our ultimate benefit, our ultimate purpose, right? The abundance. And so the more we listen, the more we tune to those higher elevated emotions, right? The better feeling vibes per se, right? That are attributed to certain ideas, the better outlook that we have to experiencing that sensation when it manifests, when it's created or on its way to creating, right? And so that's the inner navigation I'm talking about. It's a intelligence that we're connected to. It's like a neural network, right? If we're computers and stuff. And so we're all hooked into this mainframe. And it's fascinating because it's an ultimate consciousness that everything's hooked up into. And so that feel that we get when we entertain an idea helps us cross check the validity of it working out for us, of it not working out, like not working out in the respect that it'll be, but what I mean by working out is it'll benefit us, right? So when you entertain an idea and it feels good, that's that inner intelligence saying, "Hey, man, this has a good probability of being good for you," right? Or it's the route you should be going in. Better said, that's probably a better way to say it. It's the route it's the step or the direction you should be going in. And that's awesome. That is really, really, really interesting to me, because emotions are the only, that central intelligence is the only explanation I have for emotion because thoughts in of themselves, they don't have sensation. And so I've found that thought is independent. So we can switch around thoughts, you know, as many times as we want. And it's only when we entertain a thought for a certain amount of time, just maybe a few seconds, maybe, that we start getting a sensation from it. And what, in my observation, the sensation that we're getting from it is the actual signature, the frequency of what that thought would be like in reality. And so when we think about something that worries us, like a bill or something that not that bills are a problem, but not having something is it makes us uneasy. So, for example, if you have a bill that you don't have the money for example, that gives an uneasiness because there's a lack experience there, right? The association to not having to pay the bill, because bills are cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with bills. It's obviously you consumed of something, right? And just someone's waiting for payment. Obviously that in of itself has no feeling to it, but it's when you feel I don't have enough to pay for it, right? Is when it gets uneasy. And that not having is lack, right? So when we entertain anything that's lackful, like in other words, we aren't good enough. We don't have enough. We um, may not know enough. X, Y, Z, right? It's always the lack part of it, and that makes us feel uneasy because that central consciousness, that central intelligence, is saying, "Bro, you're hooked up into the mainframe." I mean, you got all the information you possibly need. You're just entertaining a belief, and a belief is a human thing. It's something that we construct from our own experience. It's not the central intelligence stuff. It's what we carry in our back pocket from our experiences. That belief system is what we construct. So when we carry our abundance there's no um if or buts about that. So it's only when we carry a belief system from our own experiences that interferes with that pureness of all that is, of that we're always have what we need. That's when it becomes uneasy. So to massage, for example, when we entertain an idea of lack, it's obviously a belief system, and it happens from some sort of experience that we've had or someone else has had, or we're believing in. That static is something that we need to look at, to massage a little bit, to look and reframe a little bit, to make it uh, and understand it, to where it came from, potentially to understand more about it, to align it, to dissolve it, to reframe it, to say, "Oh, you know what? That happened to me." For example, if you don't have enough money, it's like, "Oh, if I really think about it, I have some cash in a back pocket somewhere, in a drawer." Boom. It's that central intelligence saying, "Bro, you got it. You're just entertaining some sort of belief system right now that you're tripping, right? You're believing in that, but I disagree with it. So that's why I'm creating that you feel that resistance." Does that make sense? Right? Obviously, this is something that we can talk about at great lengths. But yeah, that inner navigation system that we have, that's connected to the whole. And the whole is always guiding you, is always advising. It's always giving its loving opinion of helping you guide yourself, of giving you a cross reference to what we carry as belief systems and we create as belief systems, so we can adjust ourselves to align to that greater intelligence, because happiness is essentially alignment to it. It's aligning your thoughts to your greater good, right? So if you entertain thoughts that feel good, that means the greater intelligence, the greater part of us agrees that what you're entertaining is locked in, man. So that's why it feels good, because there's no resistance. It's only when we think about something that goes against that greater improvement for ourselves that we feel resistance. Okay, does that kind of start to crystallize a little bit? And so that inner navigation, listen to your emotions, look for thoughts, switch your thoughts around, reframe your thoughts to find ease, because that ease is the greater intelligence, the greater part of you agreeing with what you're thinking about, agreeing with what you pay attention to, agreeing with what you are entertaining. Okay? So just I'll leave you there. Man, this went into a bunch of tangents. Um, I love you, right? I love you guys. And so this is so much fun. So yeah, I just leave it there, and we'll carry up on this in some other podcast somewhere else. And but I want you guys to have a wonderful day. And make sure to tune into the Philosophy Podcast ever and whenever you can. And please visit my website, georgebalboa.com, and pick up a copy of Philosophy, my ebook. It's a great little ebook. I think it'll give you some general framework of to get you started on this path, to get you tuned into how your emotions navigate and how you can use it to navigate the seas of your mind, right? And your thoughts and stuff like that. But it's a simple process. It just takes a little practice, a little kind of reframing a little bit, a little um, just getting a taste of it so you can start understanding it, right? So much love. I'll see you guys on the next show and have a wonderful, wonderful day.